Hey everybody, and welcome to another Office 365 Insider with me, Mark Stokes. As usual, what we'll do, we're going to take a look through the Message Center, see what incidents are going on with the Office 365 platform, and we're going to have a look at the roadmap to see what new features have launched over the last 2 weeks, what new features are going into the rolling out phase, and what features have gone into development. As usual, this is not a full list of everything in those categories. This is just the stuff that has changed over the last 2 weeks. I normally try and do this weekly, but unfortunately last week I had a bit of a childcare issue where my children's nursery closed down due to COVID. Excellent, thank you very much, 2020. So I did miss a week, I do apologise, but we should make up today. There's not too much to get through, so hopefully we can keep it within half an hour. I'll try and make it as engaging as I can do. I have had some comments over the past couple of videos about trying to make the content more interesting. It is quite a mundane set of items to go through, so if anyone does have any thoughts or ideas of how you might like me to present the content going forward, please do let me know. I'm very interested to make it as engaging as possible. I don't want to just pick off the big ticket items and talk about them as a conversation point, because different things are of interest to different people. So I do want to cover everything that goes through, because one little nugget might be very important to somebody. So if anyone does have any thoughts of how you might like me to present this differently, please let me know. I'm going to go through the normal format today, and I'll maybe have a think about it over the next week and see what we can come up with. So without further ado, let's jump in and let's go through the Message Center items first. So remember, these items are those issues that are showing up in the Message Center of my own tenant. So what you might find is your experience might be different. You might have different issues going on because Office 365 is broken up into different kind of sub areas, so you might be in different farms to what I am. But it gives a general idea of what's happening on the platform, what kind of issues Microsoft is dealing with. As we can see here, we have 5 current issues in my tenant, and we have 16 issues that were closed within the last 2 weeks. Okay, now this is important to know, because you might, if you work in IT or you support customers, you might be getting support tickets from your users around these issues, and rather than going and trying to bug fix yourself, you might realise that actually the issue is out of your hands, which is why it's important to know what's going on. Okay, so the 5 current issues going on in my own tenant are Yammer. So Yammer's got the first issue. Some users are experiencing delays syncing groups, memberships and admin user profile updates, and this has been going on since the 26th, so a couple of days now. Not an awful lot of information there. Across the whole, this is across the whole Microsoft 365 suite for the portal. All admins are unable to view accurate metrics for SharePoint Online and OneDrive for Business usage reports. We typically see analytics and usage reports most weeks, so that's kind of normal. I do hope Microsoft gets to stabilise that at some point soon. Some admins may be unable to publish public key text records or enable domain keys identified mail, DKIM settings. That's for Exchange Online. That's the degraded service, and you might find it's not broken, but it may not be working as you expect. And that's been going on again for a couple of days now. Exchange Online again for email and calendar access. A very limited number of users may intermittently be unable to access Exchange Online via any connection method. So you might see some email issues going on. This has been going on again since the 26th. Exchange Online, we can typically tell here when major updates are going on the platform. Looks like some upgrades have been going on, lots of few services out. So this is the Exchange Online management and provisioning services. So some admins can't complete mailbox migrations. So the existing issues on my tenant now. So we have 16 closed issues. So what were they? So Microsoft Teams, some users may receive unexpected test notifications on their Android devices. That went on for most of the day, from 9 AM to 7:25 PM. Microsoft Forms, some users can't access the Microsoft Forms service. Microsoft Teams again, some users can't retrieve public PSTN calls from a call queue when using Microsoft Teams. That went on for most of the day, from 1:30 in the morning yesterday to 10:30 at night for some users. That could be an issue for people working from home with PSTN call redirection. Microsoft Forms again, some users can't access the Microsoft Forms service. Okay, so well, was that a duplicate or a different time? Where was that one? Okay, fine, that's probably a duplicate. Exchange Online, any user can't access some archived mailboxes from the Outlook desktop client or Outlook on the web. Microsoft Teams. All live event attendees may be unable to view the live event streams in Microsoft Teams. That was on the 21st. Skype for Business. All attendees may be unable to view Skype for Meeting broadcasts in Skype for Business. That was a false positive, so when we have a false positive, that means it was recorded into the message center as an issue, but ultimately it was identified to not be an issue. Can't access Microsoft Form Service. Again, we've seen that. There's a duplicate there. OneDrive for Business search results may have not returned as expected. So users attempting to search for OneDrive for Business sites may have not seen the expected results. Any user may see an unexpected layout in Outlook on the web light mode. Any user or admin may experience various issues intermittently when using the service for Exchange Online. That's the 17th to the 25th, so I guess we can understand when those updates were actually taking place. Exchange Online again from the 1st of July to the 21st of August, so a long-standing one. Some users are unable to create and access folders in their archive in Outlook and Outlook on the web. Exchange. So Exchange definitely going through some updates. Any user with end-user spam notification policies using specific conditions are seeing unexpected delivery results. So not terrible. Exchange delivering a bunch of issues there as the main culprit. So moving on. Okay, so what we'll look at now is, let's go back in and we're going to look at the roadmap. As I explained before, the roadmap updates are really to give you an idea of what's happening. So new features that are rolling out, new features that are going to be rolling out, and this just lets you prepare your users and prepare yourself for change on the platform. Remember, it's a cloud service, therefore you are not in control of when and where you get these updates. So it's important to know what's going on. So we can see no cancelled updates. We've got 34 items that have completed their rollout over the last 2 weeks. 12 new items have gone into the rolling out phase, and 16 items have gone into development. So I go through these. So what is finished launching? So Outlook for Android, play my emails. So play my emails on the go to get time back in your day with a voice-forward, intelligent experience. For reading new email in your focus inbox when you're on the move and when your hands are busy doing other things. Speech recognition is getting a lot better actually. I find when I get speech recognition output, it tends to definitely feel more natural than it used to. Okay, SharePoint, Fluent Design updates for coherence. So Microsoft uses the Fluent Design system to ensure a cohesive and accessible design for all Microsoft product users. Fluent will be applied to modern SharePoint, which will result in some visual changes. You will notice larger and bolder typefaces, increased opacity for drop shadows, and rounded corners for square graphical elements. If you want to know more about Microsoft Fluent and the design language, then you can visit this webpage here. It's been through a number of different names, Office UI Fabric and things like that, so they finally conformed down to one design implementation language across the whole suite. So if you are making updates, it's good to conform to this so that you have a consistent user experience. Okay, SharePoint default site theme color is changing from blue to teal. So you may be aware with the icons, the SharePoint icon is a teal color. So when you start a new tenant, or if you're using the default, then that colour might change from the traditional SharePoint blue to the new SharePoint teal colour. I understand that if you have set your own theme, then your own theme will be retained. But maybe be aware of that and just be checked. So again, this has already happened now, so if you've seen any changes, you will have seen them already. Okay, so Compliance Center, Advanced eDiscovery Tenant Reports in preview. So the Advanced eDiscovery Tenant Reports feature aggregates information around custodians, data sources, communications, and cases. Outlook on the web, text predictions. Using smart technology, Outlook will predict text while you type. Just use the tab key to accept the text prediction. I mean, how useful is that? I rarely use predictive text on my phone unless I'm filling in one of those silly Facebook questions of start a sentence and see what predictive text it comes out with. I'm not sure how useful they are. Maybe some people like it. Let me know if you like it. Okay, we currently, Microsoft Teams changing meeting join experience in the education tenants only this time. So Microsoft currently allow anyone within an organisation to start a Teams meeting. Moving forward, Microsoft will restrict the ability to start a meeting to only those users who have been assigned a policy to create a meeting. Meeting attendees without the ability to create a meeting will see a pre-join screen indicating that the meeting hasn't started. These individuals will be automatically admitted into the meeting once a user with permissions joins and starts the meeting. This is only going to apply to education tenants. Makes sense, we don't want students starting Teams meeting here, there and everywhere, so it just gives us the ability to control who can do that. Okay, again for education, Microsoft Teams Early Class Access API. So this API will provide administrators with the ability to with control to decide whether new class teams will be locked for early educator access or immediately available for student access. And 2, visibility into which newly created classes have or have not been activated by educators. And thirdly, the ability to activate classes on behalf of their educators. Microsoft Teams teacher-led team creation. So this feature allows admins to create Office 365 groups for classes based on the student and teacher roster information, but gives educators the choice of whether or not they want a team to be created for their class. This grants them more flexibility and prevents class teams from being automatically created and turned on if they aren't needed. OneDrive, across all DoD and regular and education, Microsoft added in the option to turn off comment notifications for individual files. Microsoft Teams, again across all platforms, support for native device camera and location capabilities for personal apps and tabs. So app developers will be able to use mobile native capabilities like capturing an image through camera and providing location coordinates through GPS. Yammer, advanced e-discovery in the Microsoft Compliance Center. Microsoft Graph, to-do tasks API has gone into preview. So the Microsoft Graph Tasks API for To-Do will enable partners to taskify items in their apps. Microsoft Teams, phone system administration enhancements. So as part of Microsoft's ongoing process to bring additional workloads to the Microsoft Teams Admin Center, the following new or improved features will be available. Microsoft Calling Plan customers will be able to search, acquire and assign phone numbers to end users. Admins will also be able to create and assign emergency addresses for those end users, and additionally customers will be able to create, test and manage custom dial plans, configure dynamic emergency calling and use improved configuration for auto attendance and call queues. Excel on mobile, iPhone, iOS, XLOOKUP and XMatch, we've discussed these in the past. XLOOKUP and XMatch are successors to the iconic VLOOKUP and match functions, and they're coming to the iOS version of Excel. Excel on Universal, okay, so the Universal app is also getting XLOOKUP and XMatch. Same with Windows version and the Mac version. Okay, Microsoft Access. Wow, is Access still a thing? Does anyone use Access? There you go. So no, this might not be Microsoft Access, this might actually just be General Access. Yes, sorry, not Microsoft Access, I apologise. ODBC interface support without ACE redistributable engine. If you have Office 365 or click to run versions of Access 20, oh no, this is Access. Wow, people really do still use Microsoft Access. You will no longer need to install the ACE redistributable to use the ACE ODBC provider. I would love to know who is still using Microsoft Access and what for. Microsoft Graph, new privacy controls for Microsoft Graph-based insights. For administrators who wish to enable granular control over whether intelligent insights are available to their employees, Microsoft have introduced new controls that provide the ability to configure the visibility of graph-derived insights between users and other items in the graph, such as documents or sites, and across apps and services in Microsoft 365. Microsoft Teams apply policy packages using groups with the Microsoft Teams Admin Center. Microsoft Teams, language support for assignments, this is education, so we've got additional languages there. Office 365 Advanced Threat Protection, mail flow status summary report, although under past performance. Whether we can expect to actually access those summary reports is a whole other thing. Microsoft are working on a way for you to see how much mail was caught by the various layers of the filtering stack, and this report will allow administrators, customers to see how messages pass through the different layers of protection that are on offer. Outlook for iOS, create a task directly from an email message. Yeah, stuff like that's really useful for me. Outlook for iOS, new location for new message and event. So similar to Outlook for Android, the location of the new message and new event button will move from a fixed location in the header to a location closer to the bottom right on the screen, closer to your thumb. So again, if you are supporting users, you might want to help make them aware of these changes. Outlook for Android has now got rich text options. So access text formats and options when creating or replying to an email on your phone or tablet, such as fonts, font sizes, bold, italic, underline, links and bullet and numbered lists. OneDrive, silent KFM folder choice policy updates. So admins can now choose which known folders, so desktop, documents and pictures, they would like to move to OneDrive as part of the silent policy, and they no longer have to choose all of them at once. I'm not particularly keen on the way this is implemented. I was doing this before this came out anyway. What it does, it automatically maps, let's say your documents and your pictures to a documents folder in your OneDrive. But the problem is I have multiple computers, so I don't want all those computers to map to the same folders. So I should have a computers folder inside my OneDrive, and then I have a folder for each computer, and then I map my known folders to those areas rather than all of them go to documents. Some people may want to share the documents, share the desktop across multiple devices. In that case this would work great, but I like to keep them separate so then I can do different work on different machines. I'm interested to know how people are using this. But the fact it's been moved into OneDrive is a good thing, because it means we then have better cloud backup of our work. Microsoft Teams, using Teams background images in non-optimized virtual desktop infrastructure environments. Communication compliance now detects repeat code of conduct violations over time. Word, transcription in Word for the web. So whether you are a researcher, reporter, lawyer, teacher or anyone else who records and transcribes audio, you know how much time and effort it takes. Transcription in Word for the web enables you to easily record audio and transcribe directly in Word for the web, and transcription allows you to play back timestamped audio when you quickly pull the whole transcripts or specific quotes into your Word document. I'd be interested to see how this takes off. I know most kind of researchers and lawyers probably already have their own dictation software in place, so I'd be interested to know if this is good enough to replace the specialist software you use, or if it's not really going to be of much use. But that is fully rolled out and available. Word, voice commands and dictation for Word for the web. So I like the fact we're getting things like voice commands and voice dictation in web-based products. Just shows how good our internet connectivity is getting to manage and support that. Word, voice commands and dictation for Word for iOS. The fact we can even do this on mobile, fantastic. Same for Android. Again, Word, transcription in Word for the web with automatically individualized speakers. So it'll actually recognize separate speakers. So if you're doing an interview with somebody, then it will automatically track the different speakers and identify them accordingly. Lastly, completed rolling out is VDI support for VMware Horizon. So Microsoft have delivered an optimized audio, video and screen sharing media experience for Microsoft Teams for VMware Horizon from premises, cloud and Azure hosted virtual desktop infrastructure environments. Okay, so that's everything that is now rolled out into your tenants. So all users, all tenants should now see that functionality in place. If you're not, then maybe go and raise a support ticket with Microsoft and find out why. That's the stuff that's completed. So now we can move on to the rolling out features. This is the content that is currently in the process of rolling out. So you may or may not see this in your tenant. As I explained before, Office 365 is divided up into different sub-areas of the infrastructure. So you may be in one farm or another farm or a different farm. So sometimes these features can be rolled out within days, sometimes within weeks, sometimes within months. So it just gives you a view of what may be imminently changing, if not already, on your platform. So again, you can go out and help and support your users and your customers. So let's see what we've got here. We have 12 items that have entered the rolling out category over the last 2 weeks. and what are these? So Microsoft Teams, meeting recording storage for areas where Stream is not available. So Teams meeting recordings are currently disabled for customers whose Teams data is stored in country if Microsoft Stream is not available in that country. New admin setting will allow customers to turn on meeting recordings if Microsoft Stream data residency is not yet in country. And if this setting is turned on, then Teams meeting recordings will be saved in the data center closest to the region. Microsoft Bookings web app available to GCC customers. So again, rolling out features that we've had for a while to GCC. So Microsoft Bookings has come through. Advanced e-discovery, direct download export. So Microsoft are updating the experience of downloading content from a review set in Advanced e-discovery. So instead of using Azure Storage Explorer, Microsoft are moving to a model where content is downloaded directly through the web browser. Microsoft Teams, grade sync to OneRoster API, this is for education. So with this API, grades entered in the assignments can be automatically pushed to a OneRoster compliant school information system. Microsoft Teams, this is for GCC High, new file viewer released for GCC High. I don't think it says what, doesn't say what file formats that supports, but new file viewer. OneDrive selector sync in known folders, we've kind of just seen this. OneDrive Home in mobile, so a new landing tab in the app to make it easier to find your important files. Microsoft Information Protection support for Doublebyte character set languages is going into preview. So Microsoft Information Protection solutions such as data loss prevention, exact data match and communication compliance will benefit from the ability to detect Doublebyte language characters found in East Asian languages such as Japanese and Chinese, improving the ability to understand, label and protect customer data. Yammer is getting new reactions for posts, so users will be able to react to posts in Yammer. The new reactions include like, love, laugh, sad, celebrate and thanks, and there is more information on this really lovely URL that contains a GUID at the end. It's nice and friendly there. Let's have a look. I wonder if this gives us an image of new Yammer. Oh no, just the icons, there you go. Just the images. Okay, OneDrive expiring access for external users, so admins and end users can expire shares to external users. So within OneDrive. Office 365 Advanced Threat Protection, Office 365 Security and Compliance Alerts. So Microsoft are adding new capabilities to the Security and Compliance Alerting feature, focusing on enriching the existing alerts and extending operation coverage in the Office 365 Management API. In the Office 365 Management API, Microsoft are enriching an existing set of SOC focus alerts with additional details of the impacted entities. Microsoft Search, Power BI results with Microsoft Search in SharePoint and Office.com. So Microsoft Search in SharePoint and Office.com will now include results from Power BI. That's really quite useful and quite powerful. I'm definitely going to go and try that out when I get it in my tenant. So Power BI results within Microsoft Search in SharePoint and Office.com will allow you to search for Power BI artifacts, reports, dashboards and workspaces based on keywords to get results list displayed in a new Power BI vertical. So maybe just report names, dashboard names, workspace names, maybe the individual components within the reports as opposed to the data itself. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes about. There you go. Okay, so that's all the stuff that is now rolling out, so you should see that in your tenant either now or within the next few weeks. And then we can move on. So now if we move into the in development, so this is a slightly longer term view of what's going on. So this is the stuff that Microsoft has started working on over the last 2 weeks. We could see these fairly soon, a bit longer, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, maybe they get cancelled altogether. So it's just that slightly longer term view of what's going on the platform, which is great because it gives you the ability to plan for what you're going to be allowed to do going forward. So if we jump into in development, we've got 16 new items to talk about today. I've done 24 minutes, good. We should hopefully finish around about half an hour. Office 365 ATP request release workflow. So Microsoft are adding a way for end users to triage quarantine phish messages. They understand that managing false positives is important to ensuring email is delivered appropriately. and in the past end users weren't granted access to the quarantine to view messages. Quarantine, customer policy and folder. So previously, quarantine behaviour was configured through each individual filter and policy, and to reduce complexity, Microsoft are moving new and existing quarantine parameters into a standalone quarantine policy. Microsoft Excel, Office scripts for tasks and workflow automation in Excel. So in January, Microsoft released Office scripts, a feature that enables users to automate their repetitive tasks in Excel Online for public preview. The feature, I think this must be January coming up. It's in development, but saying availability August this year, so I don't know if this has been delayed. The feature will now be available by default to all M365 Enterprise, Business and Edu SKUs. Have access to desktop apps. That's an interesting one. That I'm not quite sure on that timeline. That doesn't seem to match up, does it? Let's see what they say. No, there's no date on this article, I don't think, so I'm not sure. Okay, if you're interested and want to know more about it, then you can go there. Microsoft Teams and Power Automate, simple automation for everyone. Marketing's got hold of this one, lovely. A new Power Automate app for Teams will make creating and using automation simpler than ever. New workflow templates will be made available, and using those templates to build automation will become easier with a simplified editor experience. Microsoft Lists, updated person column experience built on SharePoint. Items within a person column in and out of quick edit mode will appear using the new pill design format when a person's photo is displayed. Select one or more people to add to a person column quickly, and they appear with an updated look. If you're not sure what I mean by the pill layout, it's where we have the kind of extended oval with their image in the side and then their name. Do have an example in here. I don't think we provide an example. No, that's just a circle. Okay, so the link doesn't actually show it. Okay, so Microsoft Lists, updated choice column experience. Like I said, built on SharePoint over time. Items within a choice column in and out of quick edit mode for both lists and libraries will support single, multiple choice and manual fill as you add items. You'll see updated formatting right away and can update and remove choice fields and formatting selections previously applied. PowerPoint for Mac, record slideshow updates. So with new record slideshow updates, users can now record presenter video and inking with PowerPoint. Forms, group forms for GCC. So GCC is getting the ability to access group forms. Microsoft Teams, file viewer upgrades for government clouds. So we've seen this previously, and it's also rolling out to government clouds coming soon. Office 365, application guard for Office. Files from the internet and other potentially unsafe locations can contain viruses, worms and other kinds of malware that can harm your users' computer and data. And to help protect your users, Office can Office can open files from potentially unsafe locations in Application Guard, a secure container that's isolated from the device through hardware-based virtualization. So when Office opens files in Application Guard, users can securely read, edit, print and save those files without having to reopen files outside of the container. This is great. I like these kind of things. The thing that I've tried to do before is have like a separate computer that you can open suspect attachments on just to check they're okay. So the fact I can do that through virtualization, that's great. OneDrive, updates to comment notifications. So users who create or upload Word, Excel, PowerPoint or any other type of file to OneDrive or SharePoint will now get email notifications whenever somebody else leaves a comment on their file. SharePoint Spaces, touch device support. So SharePoint Spaces will enable users to interact with a space using touch interactions in addition to the mouse and keyboard based interactions currently supported. I'm still interested in SharePoint Spaces. If you're not aware of it, SharePoint Spaces is a virtual reality enabled capability of some SharePoint sites. So you can build a group in there that lets you connect with a VR headset and then you can have a 3D representation. I haven't really found many use cases outside of looking at products, but very interesting to see if other users do. OneDrive, expiring access for external users for the government clouds. Admins and end users can expire shares to external users. Yammer, edit attachments in a post. So when editing a post in Yammer, a user can now also edit the attachments in the post. Microsoft Teams, incoming video support for Safari. So Teams meetings in Safari 13 and later will support incoming video. Microsoft 365 Compliance Center, communication compliance availability for government clouds. And that's it. Okay, so that's everything that's changed on the platform over the last 2 weeks. I'm just having a look at the audio levels in my recording. I do apologise if the audio's poor quality this time round. It might be blasting out a little bit. I've just noticed I'm hitting the red quite a lot, so apologise if it's bad audio. Hopefully it's good enough to upload still. Hopefully that's a good update for everyone. You know what's happening on the platform. Hopefully you're now better able to support your users and your customers. And as usual, we will be back here next Friday for another weekly update. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate the updates. Please leave any comments on how maybe we can make this content more engaging. If it's not engaging enough for you at the moment, I'm happy to hear feedback, however it may be put together. So thank you very much, and I shall see you next week.